The Young and the Restless spoilers full episodes Wednesday full episodes May 28, 2025 Over the past several days, Genoa City has been buzzing with anticipation over the brewing conflict set to explode this Monday, May 26, on The Young and the Restless. In the glittering corridors of Newman Enterprises and the sleek boardrooms of Jabot Cosmetics, tension has reached a fever pitch as two seemingly disparate storylines begin to converge in ways that threaten to upend alliances, reputations, and even the fragile bonds of romance. At the heart of the storm stands Phyllis Summers, whose storied history of ambition and heartbreak has made her both feared and admired in equal measure. Fresh from her aborted attempts to secure a meeting with the enigmatic billionaire Aristotle Dumas, Phyllis finds herself at a crossroads. Despite her meticulously crafted pitch, a vision of a wellness retreat and a bold new cosmetics line designed to meld innovation with emotional healing, Amanda Sinclair, Dumas's trusted protégée, has bluntly informed Phyllis that arranging such an introduction lies beyond the scope of her duties. The refusal, delivered with polite firmness, lands like a cold slap. Phyllis, who has weathered betrayals and scandals numerous times before, realizes that no one in Genoa City owes her a hand up, and more dangerously, that her single-minded pursuit of fortune has blinded her to other paths to fulfillment. Fueled by a mix of desperation and wounded pride, she decides on a course of action that recalls the ruthless firebrand she once was. She will blow everything up for those few who have shown her genuine kindness, namely Billy Abbott and Sally Spectra. In her mind, the only way to regain control of her shattered trajectory is to remind the city that Phyllis Summers remains a force to be reckoned with, whether in the boardroom or the courtroom of public opinion. Meanwhile, Kyle Abbott finds himself entangled in a high-stakes standoff with Audra Charles, the brash entrepreneur whose boutique fragrance line has become the toast and target of Genoa City's elite. In a scenario that seems ripped from the pages of a corporate thriller, Audra has proposed a faux perfume war against Jabot Cosmetics, confident that the publicity will draw curious consumers into her retail outlets and cement her status as an industry disruptor. The plan involves a series of cheeky billboards, guerrilla pop-ups outside Jabot's flagship salons, and even a social media stunt in which influencers stage mock battles over signature scents. Many in Kyle's inner circle have urged him to seize the opportunity, to play along for the cameras and score free marketing points for his own fledgling labels. Yet when the moment of truth arrives in a tense meeting at Jabot's conference table, Kyle refuses to endorse the campaign. With a calm that belies the storm brewing beneath the surface, he explains that lending his family's name to a charade designed solely to benefit Audra would betray Claire Newman's trust, and, more importantly, undermine his own aspirations to forge an authentic brand identity. His words carry the weight of someone caught between competing loyalties, on one side, the allure of quick gains and sensational headlines. On the other, the quiet counsel of Claire, whose unwavering faith in transparency and integrity has guided him since the earliest days of their relationship. Audra, taken aback by his sudden stand down, can only stare as Kyle invokes the very principles she has built her reputation on, principles he is loath to violate, even at the cost of disappointing a formidable rival. The scene, immortalized by hidden cameras and immediately circulated across fan forums, leaves Audra uncharacteristically tongue-tied and sends ripples through Genoa City's corporate waters. It is a move that hints at Kyle's growing maturity but also foreshadows the rifts opening between him and those who view business as a game to be played without scruples. Yet it is Phyllis's response to Amanda's rebuff and Kyle's defiance that promises the most explosive fallout. Determined to protect the two people she cares for, Billy, who once recognized her inner struggle when no one else would, and Sally, whose own journey from specter of scandal to self-made success has inspired Phyllis's admiration, Phyllis summons them both to society under false pretenses. There, in a whisper meant only for their ears, she vows that if Dumas will not play her way, she will make sure no one else emerges unscathed. She speaks of detonations, figurative and perhaps literal. Enough to remind everyone that alliances in Genoa City remain as combustible as ever. Billy, torn between loyalty to Phyllis and caution, urges her to temper her threats, warning that taking on a billionaire could unleash legal and personal consequences far beyond their control. Sally, whose own delicate partnership with Billy has begun to flourish, watches Phyllis with a mixture of fear and fascination, aware that the woman who once plotted corporate coups may now endanger innocent bystanders in her quest for retribution. In the hushed corners of GC Buzz and among the whispered commentary at Society's bar, speculation runs rampant. Will Phyllis's promise to blow everything up target Dumas's burgeoning influence, or will it backfire spectacularly, isolating the very allies she seeks to protect? And as Kyle grapples with his own moral compass, could his refusal of the perfume war inadvertently expose him to Phyllis's wrath? A wrath sharpened by her perception that he has abandoned the cunning mindset needed to survive Genoa City's cutthroat landscape? With Monday's cliffhangers looming large, viewers are left to wonder how these threads will intertwine. Will Phyllis employ underhanded tactics reminiscent of her most infamous schemes, deploying rumors and legal maneuvers to besiege Dumas's interests? Or will Billy and Sally manage to anchor her volatile emotions, steering her away from self-destructive impulses? Meanwhile, Kyle's act of conscience raises urgent questions about the cost of integrity in a world that values spectacle above sincerity. As Audra regroups, plotting her next move in the aftermath of public embarrassment, she may discover that her true rival lies not across the boardroom table but within the fractured loyalties of those she once considered allies. In a town where fortunes rise and fall on whispered secrets and well-timed betrayals, Monday's events promise to reshape relationships, redraw corporate battle lines, and challenge every character to reckon with the price they are willing to pay for power, trust, and redemption. And as the final seconds tick away before the next episode, one thought resonates above all: in Genoa City, revenge may be sweet, but the fallout is always, inevitably, explosive. Audra Charles has always understood the power of spectacle, and when she pitched the idea of a faux perfume war between her burgeoning boutique label and Jabot Cosmetics, she knew it would set Genoa City buzzing. The concept was brilliantly mischievous. Two rival fragrance lines launched side by side, with mirrored ad campaigns, pop-up sampling events staged as territorial incursions on each other's turf, and guerrilla marketing stunts that would have influencers feigning outrage as they sniffed competing scents. It was the kind of high-octane drama that made headlines, and, more importantly, sold bottles. When she floated the proposal to Kyle Abbott, his eyes lit up at the prospect of viral publicity, but after a moment's hesitation he promised only to think it over. In truth, Kyle had already decided to brush it aside. He could see clearly that Audra's plan would deliver all the attention to her brand while offering Jabot little more than the hollow satisfaction of a staged rivalry. Later that evening, in the quiet sanctuary of Claire Newman's loft, Kyle confessed the details of Audra's audacious scheme. Eyes wide with concern, Claire listened as he outlined the mechanics of the faux conflict: fabricated social media feuds, staged celebrity endorsements, even mock leak events timed to coincide with Jabot's shareholder meetings. Claire frowned, her mind racing with the potential fallout. "You're not seriously going to let her drag your family's name through a publicity stunt, are you?" she asked, the tension in her voice betraying both worry and frustration. Kyle admitted that while the idea was clever, and could indeed boost sales, he refused to sanction anything that would ultimately line only Audra's pockets. To him, the campaign felt less like healthy competition and more like an elaborate revenge fantasy at Jabot's expense. He wanted no part of it. Claire's relief was immediate but tinged with a new unease. Here was Kyle, dismissing a lucrative opportunity out of loyalty to her, and yet, in doing so, he risked alienating Audra and disappointing the very allies he had once hoped to impress. More troubling, Claire realized, was the undercurrent of resentment in Kyle's tone when he spoke of Audra's win. He conceded that the plan was good, but he refused to enable her success. It was a small admission, but it hinted at something darker. The possibility that Kyle's decisions were being driven not by principle, but by wounded pride and a desire to see a rival stumble. It was exactly the kind of behavior Claire had cautioned him against, turning business dealings into personal vendettas. In that moment, Claire glimpsed the restless spark of anger that sometimes flickered behind Kyle's charming facade. She remembered the countless boardroom confrontations where he had rallied behind Victor's most ruthless tactics, swallowing his better judgment in order to prove himself. Now, with Audra's campaign on the line, Kyle was at a crossroads. Would he choose integrity, or would he let old grievances steer his choices? The loft felt suddenly smaller, as though the weight of expectation pressed in from all sides. Claire longed to believe that this rejection of the perfume war signaled true growth, but as she watched Kyle's jaw tighten, she could not chase away a gnawing doubt. Was he genuinely protecting her interests, or simply indulging a quiet grudge? This is the moment that will test not only Kyle's budding independence, but also the fragility of his relationship with Claire. If he stands firm, refusing to entertain pettiness even when it might serve his own ambitions, he will demonstrate to Victor, and to the world, that he has the makings of a man guided by ethics rather than entitlement. But if he allows resentment to color his judgment, he risks betraying the very qualities Claire fell in love with: empathy, vision, and the courage to rise above family politics. In Genoa City, such missteps are rarely forgotten, and one miscalculation could cost him more than a marketing campaign. It could cost him Claire's trust. For Claire, the challenge now is twofold: to support Kyle's growth without enabling passive-aggressive retribution, and to ascertain whether the man she believes in is capable of genuine transformation. She must decide whether to offer him the patience he needs to mature, or to hold him accountable for the subtle ways in which he mirrors Victor's ruthless streak. The tension between them will simmer in every glance and every unspoken question, as Claire searches for signs that Kyle can be the partner she and Jabot deserve. The question hanging in the air is simple yet profound: will Kyle Abbott seize this opportunity to prove his integrity, or will he once again allow the ghosts of past rivalries to dictate his future? In a city built on legacy and ambition, the answer may determine not only the fate of a high-profile perfume campaign, but also the very foundation of a love story that has so far weathered every storm. This week on Genoa City's most formidable dynasty, the Abbott family welcomes a pair of homecomings that promise equal parts comfort and conflict. First to stir the waters is Ashley Abbott, whose unexpected announcement leaves her brother Jack reeling just as Tracy Abbott steps back through the doors of their childhood home. The return of these two sisters, each with her own history of triumphs and trials, sets the stage for Diane Jenkins's most ambitious project yet: the full-scale renovation of the Abbott mansion into a true family sanctuary. Diane, whose heart has long been devoted to weaving fractured bonds back together, poured every ounce of passion and patience into transforming the old estate. From the moment she first sketched the floor plans, she envisioned a space that would cradle both celebration and reconciliation. High-ceilinged galleries for holiday gatherings, sunlit libraries for whispered confidences, and a hearth-sized living room where the glow of a single fire could soften the hardest of hearts. Yet despite Diane's meticulous attention to marble inlays and hand-picked tapestries, the initial reception has been lukewarm. Billy Abbott, ever the skeptic, raised an eyebrow when he first stepped into the grand foyer, politely masking his misgivings in a curt nod. His reluctance hints at deeper unease. Perhaps the familiar halls still echo with memories better left undisturbed, or maybe he fears that no amount of cosmetic upgrades can heal the fractures within their family. Jack and Diane, however, remain undeterred. They have pinned their hopes on Ashley and Tracy's return not only to validate Diane's vision but also to reignite the familial warmth that once defined Abbott gatherings. For Jack, the homecoming carries a dual promise: the rare opportunity to stand beside both of his sisters under one roof, and the chance to witness Diane's dream realized as a tangible legacy of unity. Tracy, arriving with Beth Maitland's characteristic poise and pragmatism, brings with her stories of the wider world, reminders that the mansion can be more than a relic of past glories but a living, breathing hearth for future generations. Ashley, with her steely resilience and sharp wit, offers a barometer of success. If Diane can win over the Abbott eldest daughter, she will have secured the ultimate endorsement. As the week unfolds, Jack and Diane prepare to slip away for a long-overdue honeymoon, a a gesture as romantic as it is strategic. They hope that their absence will allow the sisters to bond without the weight of Jack's protective presence, giving Ashley and Tracy room to appreciate Diane's handiwork on their own terms. But in Genoa City, peace is rarely a given. Whispers in the hallways suggest that old rivalries may flare anew, and that the very renovations designed to heal could instead lay bare lingering resentments. Will Diane's warm hues and sweeping arches be enough to kindle the spark of sisterly affection? Can Ashley's discerning eye and Tracy's balanced counsel transform polite politeness into genuine enthusiasm? And, most importantly, will Jack and Diane return from their romantic respite to find the Abbott mansion alive with laughter and shared memories, or will they be met with silence and a reminder that some wounds take more than paint and polish to mend? Tune in this week to The Young and the Restless, where the true test of any renovation lies not in the grandeur of its architecture, but in the strength of the bonds it seeks to rebuild.